as your colleagues or your friends, and in that respect, not just in future, where you have to be like when people are honest with each other, looking at each other in the most closer examination.
Oh, yes,
you understand? And you're thinking, at 19, when he got to you and then you said, come on, because you said that's the first time you realized
that, yeah.
Did you ever think of going back and asking Mom, or? No,
not until I was like, it was like recently when I went back in 2010. That was when I actually discussed that with my mom.
Okay.
You know, because that was because of the experience I have during childbirth.
Okay.
You know, because I have 4 girls in this country.
Yeah.
My 11-year-old daughter, when I was in labor with her, I was at St. Thomas's Hospital for 4 days. The baby would not come. Because the reason being, the area where they cut, that's the area that's supposed to stretch open for the baby to come out. And because of the way I was caught, you know, there was no way for the baby to come out because the area would not stretch.
Okay.
You know, so I was there 4 days, and the women who were looking after me at the hospital, none of them have any experience about this. It was like they were in shock.
Okay.
So they were calling each other by turn to come and see. Okay. You know, I was lying there in pain. Nobody would tell me what would happen. To myself, I thought that I was going to die.
Okay.
So that was the point. That was it for me, to come out and talk about my experience. That was it. That was the point where
your 11-year-old daughter, is that your first child?
That was not my first child.
Okay.
You know, I have a son who is 17. He's going to be 18 next month. That's a different story. I went to hell having him in Africa.
Okay, so
giving back to him.
So obviously you had your first child in Africa.
In Africa, yes, I did.
And then that was torture, but you were not exposed enough to understand. This could be the reason. You couldn't connect the two.
Yeah.
Okay.
In fact, funnily, I got pregnant when I was 18.
Okay.
And even at this point, believe me, I'm not making this up, I did not know where the baby was going to come out.
Wow.
Yes. It was that bad because, you know, getting pregnant out of wedlock, it was a taboo.
Yes.
For my family. I was in hell.
Okay.
I was locked out throughout the pregnancy. You know, I went through really hell. And when it was time for me to give birth, it was time for my family to take back their pound of flesh.
Yes.
You know, so I was in pain. People would slap me there, and they would tell me, even though you've been to the Bundu Society, you did not close your legs, you did not do this, you don't know that you cannot do certain things, you don't behave like a girl who's been through the Bundu Society.
Right.
You learn nothing from the Bundu Society.
Right.
You know, so it was like that for me.
That's somebody trying to take everything away from the actual consequence of the purpose.
Exactly.
That what you've done to me 7 years earlier is affecting me at this stage, but you're not knowing that.
They don't know that.
Okay.
Not that they're not knowing that.
Okay.
They don't know that. Many women like myself who's been through FGM cannot link the consequences they're going through to FGM.
Okay.
Because they just know that women should go through pain during childbirth.
Right.
You know, so if, let's say I was there for 4 days, other women like myself might have been there for 4 days or more. You know, so they don't know that it could be because of the the cutting.
Okay.
You know, I can agree that some women have not been through FGM. They have problems during childbearing, but that's a different issue. But not because your vagina cannot stretch open.
Okay.
That was the case. That was my case. So it took a Jamaican woman 4 days later who came, you know, look at my file, come and examine me and told me that, sorry, love, you're going to be fine. It's because of your circumcision. Okay. She said to me, what I'm going to do, I'm going to cut you to the bottom side, you know, near your anus, to give you way for the baby to come. And this was what she did. And half an hour later, the baby was there. And then she stitched me up. Now, the reason why I have so much trouble giving back to my second child is because the same thing happened to me when I was giving back to my son, who was my first child. Because of the force, you know, and the people who were helping me to give birth don't have any experience. Yeah. I was cut open with the force. The baby came out with a force. So I was left with this cut. And then they did not stitch me. Yeah. And this wound healed up by itself. And when it healed up, it left the vagina open, smaller than it should. Okay. So now, when I got pregnant with my daughter, you know, this was 6 years later,
Yeah.
the vagina was smaller than it should, you know, so it could not stretch.
At this
open.
time, you're already in Europe.
I wasn't here. I was here in Europe.
Yes,
but these women were looking after me because, you know, they did not have any training about FGM. As you know, it's like an alien topic to them. Yes. So they were shocked to even find out that I was without any clitoris. Wow. So that alone was a shock for them. Wow. So they have to find out how to support me. So they have to get somebody who was a specialist in this area.
You know what? I'm going to hold you on to that thought, please, because when we come back, obviously, the BabyBangz, as ladies, young ladies, would like to speak to you. So what we're going to do, we're going to entertain listeners. Whatever you're doing, don't move. We've got a very interesting conversation going on here, because I don't like to call these interviews. I like to call it conversation, because it's where it's a two-way thing where we're talking and then we're being very, very open and being honest. And for me, I'm being educated today. And I'm going to come in with some questions, but the girls would love to speak to you because they would like to get an insight from yourself.